Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to get started and maximize on the time. I'm going to keep the remarks brief. I'm going to introduce everybody. My name is Judah Karkowsky. I oversee corporate and business development at Cengage. And for those that have no idea what Cengage is, we're a large software and textbook publisher in the United States, and we cover everything from kindergarten through career. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about career, but before I talk too much, let me introduce the panel. I'm going to keep it brief because really the most important part of this for us is making sure that you have a voice today as well. We're going to cover some brief questions, but it's really about the questions that'll come from you. So right to my left is Charlie Stein-Cohen, who is the founder and CEO of Net2Work. Charlie oversees both the foundation and the company. It's an interactive platform bridging the gap between young people and companies. They offer opportunities for students to engage in work experience, internships, apprenticeships, part-time and full-time jobs. And I promise I'll let her talk a little bit more about that as she goes through her answers. To her left is Chia-Wei, the Director of Learning Sciences and Technologies at the University of Pennsylvania, School of Dental Medicine. Mr. Wu is the director there, and his expertise in e-learning systems design, workforce career and curriculum development, student assessment, and online business development sets him apart, and he's going to explain what he does a bit through his stories today at PDM. And last, but certainly not least, Achron Chaviv, Yair Brosh is the CEO of Time to Know at Ladat. Yair started his true training and his true career in the intelligence corps, where he was a colonel. He's retired now. He oversaw hundreds of developers, PhDs, and through that process was responsible for recruiting and evaluation as well. Time to Know, which he oversees, is really a tremendous platform that reshapes the way organizations deliver training, enabling its customers to identify business knowledge gaps in order to achieve those better business results. So we're going to keep this very live. So I'm going to shoot questions. The best part about this, folks, is that Charlie has no idea what's going to happen. So this is going to be lots of fun. Let's just make sure that mic is on as we pass along.
No idea.
Awesome.
No idea.
Ready? So what are we really here to talk about? A few topics have preoccupied the U.S. and international employers more in recent years than what they perceive as a growing gap, a gulf between the knowledge, skills, and abilities of young people entering the workforce and knowledge, skills, and abilities they believe to be crucial to the success of their enterprises. The overwhelming consensus is something's missing, and it didn't used to be. Today, we're going to hope to address in what ways and how well our collaborations around partnerships between both the university and public-private sector, those growing number of businesses and those growing degree granting institutions, how is that shaping the face and acknowledging and resolving some of that skills gap? So to push this over to my colleagues here, we'll get to the specifics around how and what in a bit, but in your experience, Charlie, how often have you seen the formal collaboration, the real partnerships happen between a university, between a school, and the employers that need to hire? I told you we were going to stump her.
So between universities and companies, between universities and companies.
Yeah, how often are you seeing that partnership really reflect in real life? I know we talk a lot about it, but is it real? Have you seen it? What does it look like? We're going to get to what does it look like after, but just a yes or no answer. This one's a softball.
Okay, I don't think it looks real. I don't think that the connection and the communication is there between the employers and the companies, and whether it's university, college students, or A-level students in the UK, I think there's a disconnect between the companies and the opportunities and what they're offering, whether it's apprenticeships or jobs and so on, to the connection. I feel like there is a huge disconnect, and
absolutely.
This is not happening, and you know, this is the whole point of this kind of conference, that
That's
we need
why
to
we're
solve this. So.
Okay, excellent. Can you pass the mic over?
Oh, pass the mic over.
Chia-Wei?
Keep it.
Hi everyone, my name is Chia-Wei Wu. I read the answer to the question. It's more than obvious. I'm from dental school. I work for a dental school. So you just go into the dental clinic and look at all the young dentists being yelled at by those senior dentists. When they just start working, they'll be asked, did you learn this from dental school? So there's not just a gap, but a chasm between workplace and their school. Or for another example, I have a friend. I'm originally from Taiwan. I moved to US in 2013. Back then, I had a friend who was about to go to Germany to be trained as a resident, medical doctor residency program. So he asked his professor, what should I learn from my residency? And his professor answered to him and said, just have fun. You just go there for 1 year. And by the time you come back, the technique you learn from your residency program will be outdated in 3 to 5 years. So why are we teaching those outdated curriculum in university and expect them to be useful at the moment when they go into the workplace?
Chia-Wei, that's a frightening concept because along with that, you got a lot of debt. So let's hope it's not too far out of usefulness. So
Yeah.
let me punt the question over to Yair. More specifically, where do you see those big gaps? What are you experiencing in terms of that yawning claims and holes?
Hi, everyone. My name is Yair Brosh from Time to Know. And as my colleagues here mentioned, the gap is obviously there. Mainly due to the fact that the industry is moving so fast, and we actually created two ecosystems that don't have any real incentive to collaborate. The need for relevant and effective training is obvious, and the need for research in universities coming from different angles. And the pace is something that is creating this gap and increasing it dramatically as years go by. Some call it fourth industrial revolution, some call it workforce 2.0, but all of them talk about the need for effective training fast and in different methods than we're used to today.
Thanks. So pulling this back to Charlie for a minute. This one's, don't worry about it, we're going to totally trick you with this one. So in your, in the work you're doing now, how, a lot of what we hear about is soft skills. Have you heard the term soft skills before?
Yeah.
So can you speak a little bit about that and share with the group, where are we, that's one of the big gap areas.
Wait, when you mean soft skills, you mean like
Creative thinking, teamwork, the types of things that because someone had thrown out the M word before as if it were a little bit problematic. So the idea is what's lacking on day one that that employers wish their new employees had?
Well, oh, hello. I think that for us, for example, we work a lot with companies that we understand the importance of investing in young people and investing in these soft skills. And I think it's not worth a company not investing in the softer skills and to taking the short road to experience people that might not have the longer term effects and the longer term investment for their workforce to show what's possible, whether it's from their new way of thinking and it's more cost effective. It's their way of investing in their longer term scheme of these softer skills and the longer term investment basically.
So do you think that's something that should be taught in universities, the soft skill side of things?
I think there's definitely a lack of career guidance within schools for us in the UK, as well as universities and so on, and investing in preparing them to be ready for the workforce, for the companies and so on. So I do think that schools have to invest in this kind of area as well to make them proactive in that and to make them workforce ready so that the companies are more willing to open up what they're doing to diverse areas, whether it's more, females in positions that are more unlikely, whether it's working with disadvantaged schools in the UK, for example, or, after the army, areas that might not have been as predictable and so on. So, yeah.
Helpful.
If that makes sense.
So, Chia-Wei, you're worth at dental school, you mentioned. So do you see a big difference between what you're expected to prepare students for versus, say, a undergraduate university, or maybe even a primary, secondary school before one even attends university?
Yeah, sure. So we talked about the soft skill, right? And the problem that we're facing right now is we give student definite answer or the exact correct answer when they are learning something at school. So for a student dentist, are you going to expect your dentist come into the clinic and say, oh, there's a cavity in your mouth and the answer is D. Drill it and fill it. Tooth number 9. No, you want them to think critically. Critical thinking is something they need to learn. And are we providing a platform, a safe environment for students to think out loud in the classroom? Question mark, right? Is the curriculum adaptive enough for students to try and error? Question mark. Is policymaker making something different for the next generation? Question mark. So I do believe technology-wise, we're ready. We're ready to go. We're so ready to go. This morning, I heard people talk about PBL, problem-based learning, right? At Penn Dental, we're doing problem-based learning on steroids with the utilization of technology. Learning management system, iPad, cloud-based learning, and all the AI will allow you to do something that I just mentioned. So I do believe at this moment, we are already ready to go for build up the soft skill for our students, but we need the help from the industry. I love the model that Udacity and Udemy are doing. They invite practitioners from Google, from Facebook, those popular companies, project managers from those popular companies to mentor students online and then find the best candidate in the future. That could be something that we can think about doing in other fields as well. So I am really, really looking forward to seeing something happening in the near future.
So Yair, Chia-Wei mentioned Udemy, Udacity. Some of those are just to close the gaps here. The U.S. refers to 3 real ways of going about it. You can go kind of vocational training. You can go to what we call community college, which is just 2 years of university, or you can go down 4-year university or beyond. In the Udemys, the Udacities, the plural sites of the world, the code academies, or those just training, sometimes we refer to these as middle skills. You don't really need a full degree. How do you see workforce development and effective training being maximized for Yair?
So again, I think that the gap is growing between universities and the workforce due to the needs and also due to the fact that we as human beings changed. So we're not willing to sit for 3 years and no one is really expecting us to memorize this data that was given to us or we were asked to learn on our own 3 years ago when we really reach our school. The whole concept of learning is changing. It's about skills and it's about knowledge and how do we treat knowledge and where does technology play a role in this aspect. So for us and where we're coming from, we believe in micro-learning, we believe in the learning experience. Our platform actually allows all of those to happen, and we definitely look at technology, both AI and bots, to allow learning in a totally different way. So we assume that the data is there. We don't need to memorize anymore. We just need to find the right ways to make it accessible in the right time, in the right ways. And technology can do it. Our platform definitely does that. And then you need the soft skills where you would not be able to replace everything by technology, but blended learning can definitely support that. And this is, again, a collaboration between technology and the right training methods in order to bring the people to the workforce really, really trained.
So, toss-up question to the group. Yair was just kind of discussing the always-on availability of knowledge, the smartphone, which is far more powerful than the computers were 30, 40 years ago. Forget about that, 20 years ago. Do you see, so this changed the landscape, do you see that landscape changing again? Are we going to need to evolve the way we train our future workforce?
So I believe that this is an evolving process. We're already in this transformation, digital transformation, learning transformation, knowledge transformation, and we need to adapt faster. So the help of technology is definitely around how do we bridge this gap faster, and how do we connect training into business results? Because just doing training is nice, but when you're talking about workforce, it's not good enough. And I think we're still stuck with concepts and platforms that are still giving us practices that used to be relevant 10 and 20 years ago, when us as people, our workers, and also the environment is expecting us to provide something totally different. And I think, again, technology has a role. We definitely have a platform that is going through that path, but also the way people learn, treat, and evolve into lifelong learning and engaging in different ways is critical for this process.
Excellent. So for the two of you, if you want to answer that question, go for it. But just to layer onto it, hearing what Yair said, whose job is it and how do we strengthen those relationships?
I talked about the evolving environment first. So when I was a student, I sit through lectures hours after hours, right? That's okay. Take notes on my notebook. And then I organize my notes after everything ended at home and try to memorize everything. That's okay for me. The problem that we're facing today is that field curriculum has been redesigned for mobile learning, micro learning, adaptive learning, personalized learning, and online learning. Blended learning, flipped classroom. I can go endlessly.
You need to come to our booth.
Yeah, so if you upload a lecture that is 50 minutes long, nobody's going to watch it because it's called movie, right? Student only wants to pay attention to a lecture that's shorter than 15 minutes. That's the research that I read back in 2013, and now it's less than 12 minutes in terms of the attention span. And one of the most popular apps is called TikTok, developed by Chinese people, that you can upload a video that's shorter than 20 seconds, 15 seconds. But are we ready to redesign the curriculum that fits majority of our students? Question mark. So since 2013, I've been working with my school to redesign our curriculum. We free up 12% of our curriculum time and move the teaching content online in a hybrid fashion. Try to meet where our students are because they don't come to the class. That's a shame, right? But we really need to do something different to meet where our students are and speak the language they're speaking in, which is digital edge language. And whose responsibility is that? I believe it's everybody, from policymaker, industry, school, curriculum designer, and most but not the least, you need a team to support your teacher. Do not expect the teacher to do all the job. It's just impossible. I started my position because my school purchased 2 iMacs, put it in the library, and called it online learning in 2012. The student would just go there and try to Google everything they need to know, which is not the case. School leadership told our faculty members to do something different. Oh, you can find all the resources online. Yeah, but they don't have time.
And Chia-Wei, because we're going to run low on time,
Hello, sorry.
want to give Charlie the opportunity. I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to wrap it up with a question,
hello.
and then we'll turn to the audience.
We're on goodness.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh gosh, I have so many comments on this. I think that we have a lot of responsibility between all of us as an edtech community to work between education, companies, whether it's dental science, with medical, sports, all the sectors, STEM, fashion, media, all of it, to really show young people how to do it. Because companies like mine, for example, can connect them, but they need to be workforce ready and adaptable to do that. And the schools might have curriculums, I don't know here, but in the UK, for example, you can learn Pythagoras theorem and all this kind of nonsense that I was terrible at, and you're not ready to work in a workplace. You don't know about diversity, about failure, about all these kind of areas that a young person has to be ready and work with the careers people and work with HR people to train these young people as their investment as a company, whether it's with the careers people in the schools, to show them that how to prepare for it, how to work for it, and how to create, because they have all these abilities to make the difference within companies, whether it's in dentistry, whether it's in arts or STEM and so on. So, whether you're leaving the army and you think you're good at tech, but you're not sure, and how do they are ready for it? So we need to work with them from the schools to the workforce, whether it's universities to the workforce or army to the workforce and so on, to show them how to be adaptable and how to really create their impact within companies, which we know all young people can. We know they are a big investment to companies and they can actually make the difference. And it's just helping to work with the schools and education to show, and work with careers advisors, one point before I finish, is that the skills and the workforce before all of this has completely changed. And we don't, back in my father was a doctor, so I was never going to be medical. My dad said, I'm not going to medicine, like, you're on your own, and that was it. And it was, you have to make your own way and find it and have the adaptable skills. And
perfect.
That's it. Sorry.
So, we can keep going all day, but I wanted to open it up to the audience. Are there any questions out there? Don't be shy.
Hello, my name is Yair. I'm from Kazakhstan. I represent a company called BTS Digital, and I have been working for a long time in the education sector. So today we are talking about how to bridge the gap between universities and the workforce, the labor market. So universities as a type of formal education, how do you see the role of other formats of education? If we employ the UNESCO classification, we have informal and non-formal learning. So how do you see the role of non-formal and informal, especially learning, in bridging this gap? Thank you.
I think one of the roles of universities was the pedigree you're getting once finalizing that. I think we're changing. I can definitely speak about Israel as a country that is, you see this change happening right now. So for instance, if you look at software engineers, the gap is huge. People are no longer, or not all of them, see university as the right pedigree. If you're in the right army unit, you have the same pedigree, and that puts university in a totally different place. I think we would see more and more of this happening in different areas. Training would happen in different areas, and the certification given due to use of technology and systems and knowledge combined, we, with our system, provide certification to our customers. This would be sufficient enough once you create this group that provides this alternative pedigree.
Okay, so I'm going to tee up one quick last for each of you, 30 seconds, because we have 2 minutes left. If you could give yourself or someone just starting this journey one piece of advice so that they can maximize the workforce readiness, the employability, what would it look like? 30 seconds.
Teach your student to be open-minded. Teach them how to acquire knowledge, a useful knowledge, not just browsing around on YouTube looking for something irrelevant, but teach them how to find the information they really need. And I think that's one of the most important lessons our student needs to learn nowadays.
Charlie? Either yourself or someone who's just starting, what's the one piece of advice you'd either give yourself 5 or 10 years ago or someone else who's just getting started?
I would, I do what I love and do what I'm passionate about, and that's all that matters. This is, can I tell a little longer?
Go for it.
So I started my career in shipbroking for all the wrong reasons. I was told girls couldn't do it. I was told I couldn't work in Hong Kong. I was, many, many reasons. I did it to prove them all wrong, and I did it. I sold some ships, and I did it in Hong Kong. But now I'm doing what I love. I do what I'm passionate about, and that's all. Whether it's science, medical, anything in the world, do what you love, and it doesn't matter whether it's arts, music, and so on. Just this is all that matters. And when you do what you love, and it's the same that I say with all the young students we work with, find your area, because you might think, I'll never find an area in art or fashion or sports. They will find it. If you're passionate about it, you will find it. Like, it will make its way the same way that I'm here at this conference. Like, it will make its way to be and meant to be and to connect with what you're doing and your passion and your skills to literally make a difference. And that's it. Follow your passion.
Follow your passion.
And work towards that. And schools and education, universities and all that need to work towards that in whatever ways we discuss here. And that's...
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.